Okay, so good morning, everyone. It is the 12th of April, Tuesday, the 12th of April. We are looking at the dollar index. We are looking at the euro dollar and the euro pound, our daily currency call here. If you are watching us on YouTube, this is recorded live for the club members. So if you are watching us on YouTube, this is released later into the day. So just bear in mind, if you see any trade setups, it might have happened already. So, don't jump into every trade. Do your own analysis before that. Again, with club members, Tuesday night, we do have a club session tonight. So 8 p.m. GMT plus 8. Make sure you turn up for that session. The links will be in the club platform later. So let's get started now. As usual, a quick disclaimer, any information shared in this video is not intended to be a trade recommendation. It is solely the opinion and views of the speaker, so please remember to do your own analysis prior to entering any trades. Right, so again, now jumping into the news straight away. On forexfactory.com here, we are looking, this is today, right? Today, well, I'll show you yesterday first. Yesterday, we did have some news from the UK. So the pound GDP number month on month was a 0.8, expected to be a 0.2, came out at a 0.1. So we kind of expected a weaker GDP number coming from the UK, and it did turn out that way. So a 0.1 there. What happened was we saw a downward move in the pound dollar, and then after that, that spike up, and then a resumption of the pound dollar back down, primarily because of the dollar index, but I'll tell you more about that shortly. So with that, any other news? Not much else. For today, we do have some Euro CPI numbers, the German CPI numbers to be released, staying at that 2.5%, so not a big change there. Later in the evening, we do have the economic sentiment coming from the Eurozone, not looking very good, from a minus 38.7 to a minus 48, no wait, minus 46.5 there. All right, so economic sentiment for the Eurozone dropping quite significantly, also going to be probably driven because of the Russia-Ukraine conflict happening at the borders there. But if you pay attention to it, you're not seeing that much headlines coming from that news or that event now, right? So just be a bit careful with the euro dollar. I'll tell you more about my thoughts on the euro dollar a bit shorter later there, right? With tonight 8 p.m. we do have our club session. We also have at 8:30 the US CPI numbers to be released. Was 0.8%, expected a 1.2%. So CPI, inflation data, expected to climb quite significantly from a 0.8 to a 1.2. The year-on-year number looks like it's going to be again climbing higher, with inflation data climbing higher. If you refer back to the analysis we did from the FOMC meeting minutes released last week, the FOMC members are paying a lot of attention to how this inflation data is climbing. It might, or it's most likely going to force their hand towards taking more action or more aggressive action in terms of rates increase. So again, every time we see inflation data being higher, we see all this news in terms of inflation being hot, running higher than historic high levels, we're going to see the likelihood of FOMC members voting to increase rates by 50 basis points in the next meeting, which is in May. So this news event here on Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. is likely to cause that dollar to strengthen quite significantly, right? Dollar sitting at a very high point right now. I'll show you the dollar index shortly, but sitting at a very high point right now. So we might see the dollar break higher quite significantly because of this news event. On Wednesday, we do have, well, we spoke about the RBNZ. Wednesday morning, I'll tell you about the CPI for the UK, but with the euro in focus, we do have the CAD as well on Wednesday night, but on the euro in focus on Thursday, we do have rates policy coming from the ECB. right? Main refinancing rate staying at that 0%, but pay attention to the rate statement and also the press conference. Again, this will coincide with our club session at 8 o'clock. So 8:30 news at the press conference. We'll go through that. I think that what we'll see here coming from the ECB is comments about how inflation is also running quite high in the Eurozone. We might see the ECB not take action in terms of increasing rates, but they will probably talk about possible rate increases. So we might see some volatility on the euro dollar, especially on Thursday evening. And then following on from that, Friday, we are taking a break. It is Good Friday, so expect the volatility to slow down on Friday, on the whole of Friday, right? So what we're looking at here on the euro dollar is to pay attention to, one, the economic sentiment happening later at 5 p.m. 8:30 p.m., the US CPI number looking like an increase again. So looking for that dollar strength. And then on Thursday evening, with the ECB, with their monetary policy statement and rates decision and press conference. So looking at dollar strength, followed by some euro strength coming into play. What all this means is looking at the dollar index here, right? I'll move this line slightly so we can see that candle there, right? Looking at the dollar index here, the last we spoke about it yesterday when I said that it was likely to move towards that 100 level, sit there in consolidation before breaking up. What I anticipate here is for it to come up again, test that 100 level again before tonight. Tonight, with the CPI data to be released from the US, if we do see that stronger CPI number, then we're going to see that push above that 100 level, right? We're going to see dollar index push, and I'll show you here, push above that 100. Where can it go up to? I don't think it'll make a straight line towards that 101 level, right? Quite a lot of movements to be expected here. So I think that it will be a very gradual thing. I think it will break above 100, maybe towards 100.20, bounce around at this level before slowly tracking higher towards that 101 level. So looking at further dollar strength to be applied because of the CPI numbers later tonight, looking at dollar strength to be applied maybe because of every other currency weakening against the dollar, looking at the dollar strength, translating to dollar strength. So what we could anticipate here on the euro dollar, right? Euro dollar, the last time we spoke about it on the 7th of April, I was looking for it to reject this 1.0945 level and turn down towards the recent low point of 1.0863. It's done that. It actually broke a little bit lower than that before bouncing back up and testing that resistance again. So as it tests that resistance and turn back down, that candle there, I'll zoom in a little bit so it's easier to see again. That candle there is quite significant because, you know, it tried to go higher, didn't like it, sat there in a doji, and then turned back down. So at this point, what you should be anticipating for the euro dollar is for further downside. But don't look to sell right now, right? Don't look to sell right now because it is not ready. What needs to happen for the euro dollar to move significantly lower is for it to break below this 1.0853 level. Or if you want to be safer, it needs to go below 1.0850, close below that point. I'll show you why. I'll put a line there. 1.0850, right? 49 there. Why it needs to go past this point is because it's happened here before. 7th of March, it came very close, tried to break lower, even 1.0843. So let's move that line down to this point. Didn't break below, it didn't close below, and then it bounced straight back up. So I'm anticipating here dollar strength, right? For now, dollar strength to push the euro dollar down towards this 1.0843 level. And then maybe on Thursday evening with the euro or with the ECB coming out, possibly talking about not doing rate increase, but talking about some rate increases or amending their monetary policy to accommodate some of this inflation, or to try and tone down inflation a little bit, we might see the euro dollar bounce off from this 108.43 level, right? So what you could be looking for, if some of you might be thinking, can you sell down from this point? This is only a 30 pip move towards the downside. At the very most, if it comes down to this point, it's 60, but you can see that it's very touch and go below this 1.0845 level, right? 1.0843 level. So just be very careful at this point. Again, if I zoom out further, you can see that this is a very low point. We haven't seen such a low point on the euro dollar for a very long time. If I went to the daily time frame, the last time we saw it break below this 1.0843 level was back in 2020. It touched 1.0793, bounced back up. The only time it broke significantly below was in March 2020. All the other times, very low point at 1.0788 before it bounced significantly back up. So just be very careful at this point here. Again, at this point here, what I would actually be looking for is to see the reaction at this 108.43 level and also this 107.90 level. What you could be looking for, oops, take that away. What you could be looking for here is, on a contrarian view, is to look for buying opportunities, right? To look for buying opportunities where you could go a counter. Again, this is a lot higher risk. This is high risk kind of trade opportunity here. You could be looking at a buy at, if it comes down and bounces off this 108.54 level, 30 pip stop loss, 60, almost 90 pip take profit level towards the upside here for the euro dollar on the H4 time frame, a 1:3 risk reward ratio towards the upside for the euro dollar. Or you could even be looking for it to come down towards this 107, look to buy again a 30 pip stop loss, and then you could be looking at a 1:4 risk reward ratio towards the upside on the euro dollar. What I'll be very careful here is to try and sell it down. I think that the temptation will be to sell the euro dollar down, but we're going to see a lot of volatility from this 108.73 all the way towards 107.92. We're going to see that spike and bounce quite significantly. So at this point here, I'll be looking for counter trend trade opportunities on the euro dollar. If it doesn't happen, then let it run, let it slide. Don't jump into the trade. It would be opportunities on other currency pairs instead. But this could be something that you'll be looking for in terms of a counter trend trade opportunity. So with that said about the euro dollar, then looking at the euro pound next. Euro pound right now sitting at this 0.8350 level. Right, you can see that the last few times we spoke about it, it's rejected the level, tested lower. Right now, I'm looking to see whether it's going to test lower. This kind of falls in line with what we're looking for on the euro dollar, anticipating it to drop lower before bouncing back up. I'm also looking for the euro dollar to drop lower and then bounce back up. You can see that every time it comes towards this 0.83 level, it's bounced significantly, and again, once it broke above, we saw that big upward move from this 0.83 level. So what you could actually be looking for here in a trend following scenario will be to sell the euro pound down towards the 0.83 level, again below 0.8342. You could be looking at about a 20 pip stop loss. I'll be a bit safer there. A 20 pip stop loss, a 40 pip take profit level, a 1:2 risk reward ratio towards the downside for the euro pound on the H4 time frame. But bear in mind, as you look to trade the euro pound on the H4, you also want to pay attention to the pound dollar. We do see a lot of news happening on the pound dollar. Yesterday, today, and also, if I'm not wrong, yesterday and today and tomorrow as well with the CPI number. So quite a few news items to be had on the pound dollar. I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. That could actually help with the euro pound in terms of it now trading towards the downside, and then we might be looking to trade it back up tomorrow with the pound dollar news release. Right. So with all of that, make sure you trade well, trade safe. Remember that it's going to be a short week, so don't try to hold on to your trades for too long. And we'll see you tomorrow with the pound dollar. Traders Club members, we'll see you tonight 8 p.m. for the club session. Take care now. Bye bye.